Guys, deluded, I'm back again. YouTube's N'Golo Kante, I'm back again. Good morning, folks. It's 6:30, and before I go to finish my day, well, start my day better yet, I haven't recorded in a while. That's a lie, because I've got bare videos on my laptop. I just haven't uploaded. Now, yeah, man, I'm late to the party, but I'm sure you've all seen now Matteo Guendouzi, I can't say his name, you guys know I'm not with the name stuff, but yeah, moving on. Now, as predicted, you're seeing every Tom, Dick and Harry claiming to know everything about the man, from his shoe size to how he plays football. And what do I always tell you guys? We don't know everything about everything. I don't know everything about everyone, and I'm more than happy to throw my hands up. It's a learning process. But when I'm right, I'm right. And I'd like to think by now, with the viewers that have watched me on a consistent basis, I've gained some credibility. We've been here with Torreira, we've been here with Keita, we've been here with several names off the top of my head, specifically to Arsenal. Yassin Adli didn't come, but we've been here with him. We've been here with numerous players where I've said these players are good players or whatever, and I've spoken about them. This very man in question, you've seen the video 6 months ago when Spurs looked to get him. So the proof is in the pudding. And when I tell you guys, that's a bit of a source of my frustrations, is to think if I could ever get anywhere within the world of football, because I know what the hell I'm talking about. I know I don't know everything, but I know what the hell I'm talking about. So yeah, man, if we do sign him, I mean, he's 19 years of age, he's 20 next year, signing a 5-year deal, so that's a big show of faith in the man. Allegedly, Remember was the one to convince him. He wanted him when he was at PSG. Ironically, Guendouzi is a former PSG man. He's played for Lorient. People have asked me, when did I find out about him? When did I see him? How did I know this and whatever? Because they, quite rightly so, you lot were shocked by the vid. It's not rocket science. He made his debut in 2016. I saw that debut and followed the man since. I ain't known him since he was born. It's just, football is not hard. I've followed him since. And I did believe he'd had some, at a period since I've seen him, he's had a bust up with whatever in the team, and he was out of the team for a while, so he had some discipline problems. But if it's away from the discipline problems, he's done all right. He's made 30 appearances for Lorient in total. He's made 30, yeah, like I said, 30 appearances at top level. The bulk of them coming in Ligue 2, Ligue 2, however you French don't say it. League 2, let me just say it, man. Leave the French thing to Wenger. League 2, 8 appearances in League 1 before Lorient were relegated. Obviously, you can see the connotations between Arsenal and Lorient. They used to be a feeder club of sorts for us, where we used to loan players to them. Obviously, Koscielny had roots there once upon a time. My man's got roots there now. So yeah, man, it's really and truly, we should be milking them a bit more. Even you look at signings like Guerrero that went on to Dortmund, could have been a decent left back for us. So yeah. On the topic of Guendouzi, what I like about him, I do believe physically he's got a lot of profile, and I do believe he needs to assert himself a bit more physically, but he is a strong lad. Loosely reminds me, like I said in my last vid, loosely reminds me of Rabiot. Of course, you're never going to have two players that are like for like. What I mean by that is the elegance, the way he's able to find short passes and just keep it moving. He's good at recycling possession. Probably needs to define what sort of midfielder he wants to be, but he could probably be a deep line, box to box. He could do a range of roles, to be fair with you. Like I said, he's a very cultured and elegant player on and off the ball, to be honest. His positioning can improve, but it is very good. I've been here before. Just check my last vid. I've spoken about them. I've spoken about the man. Even if I look back, and now I'm getting flashbacks to games against Marseille. Was it a couple of years ago where Lorient lost to Marseille? He was terrible in that game, but he was decent against Bordeaux. And there's another game I'm missing out. Did I write it down? Saint Etienne, that's it. So they're the 3 games off the top of my head I can remember seeing from him. So yeah, it's not rocket science. Just half of these people that claim they know football and XYZ, they're not watching football. Football is not hard. Could you imagine how messed I would be, or this channel would be, if I had access to Wii Scout and all these scouting access tools that people have, where they can, in fact, even if I had a professional, I could dedicate my working, sorry people about that, where I could dedicate my working hours to just looking at football. I mean, for someone that has to balance working and just life's pressures with this, I'm doing a pretty damn good job. On the small topic of Guendouzi, though, I have to say they're completely different players, but you can, on the basis that they're both midfielders, does he take the place of Yassin Adli, or what was looked to be his place before he opted or got cold feet or whatever and stayed at PSG? I don't know. So you'd have to assume he takes that place. £8 million, surely that shows you a man's going to be in the first team at some capacity, in some sort of way, whether that's in cup competitions and pushing for a start, maybe loaned out. I don't think he'll be loaned out, or just at Arsenal getting blooded in slowly. You'd also have to think, what does this mean for the existing midfielders? I want Dragomir to stay, but if you look on his Instagram, he's in Romania or wherever he is enjoying his holidays, so he's probably sorting out his future elsewhere, while the rest are considering pre-season. Probably more the position that it directly affects in Josh De Silva. He's committed his future on paper, it looks like, because he's still training with the club. He's a midfielder. Joe Willock, who, whether you think he's better than XYZ, was looked to be the closest, just on the basis that Wenger was playing him in midfield historically last season in Europa, made his Premier League debut and whatnot. What does it mean for him? What does it mean for the midfielders already here? Because for all the talent, there's already a lot of experienced midfielders and there's a lot of talented players, and only a couple can make it. So it's interesting times for them. It'd be an interesting couple of 18 months, 2 years for the existing players, to be fair. It's nice to see the club's got one eye for the future, because on top of setting a goal of once every 2 seasons, essentially, Ivan Gazidis said we'd look to bring in a first-team player from the academy. So yeah, it looks like we're still en route to do that, to be fair. But it does ask a couple questions. If he continues to develop the way a lot of people think he can, I mean, he's going to have a pull and pull between Morocco, who've got to the World Cup, and France, who, I'm pretty sure I said in the video where I first did about him, I don't know what's in the water in France, because they've got so many sick players, like. So yeah, he's made his debut from 2016, and on top of that, if you compare him for all his talent to the other midfielders at the club, he's got one. What has he got against him? Experience. He's played at the top level. So whether you think he's better or not, that immediately tells you, okay, I might be able to trust him more than the others. Football is about trust. As a manager, you need to be able to trust a player. Like I said, if you're the best thing since sliced bread, think about it. You could be the next Messi. You could be Messi, Lionel Messi. And I could be Barcelona manager. Of course, I'm exaggerating a bit with this example. But if I don't think you're good, you're not going to play, and you're ultimately not going to show what you have. Like, once upon a time, for all Lionel Messi's talent, Frank Rijkaard had to show some faith into that 16-year-old and whatnot. And obviously, even at international level, for that talented young man that made his debut at Messi made his debut, he then got sent off in his debut, if you remember rightly. And then, while he hasn't had success for Argentina, I do think it's harsh, because he got them to a final. Obviously, he didn't do it alone, but you get where I'm going, innit? So yeah, man, he's come a long way from back onto Guendouzi. He's come a long way in a short spout of time from his debut against, was it Nantes? I can't remember. People forgive me. So yeah, man, there's not much more to say on that front. You've also got to think, what does this mean for El Nene? Because 2 midfielders look to be coming into the club. There's already a heavy contingency plan at the club, of players already. El Nene got the number 4 shirt and got a new deal. But if you're honest, is he in our strongest team? Is he in our strongest lineup? The answer to this is no. He's a good player. I wouldn't necessarily force him out the side unless he asks us to leave. I think you could afford to keep him in the squad, because if we're honest, that's what El Nene should have really been throughout his time at Arsenal. Again, if you play well, you deserve to keep your spot and all them things. But if we're being real, El Nene is a squad player. So yeah, man, there's not much more to say on that front. Guys, deluded. This is, yeah, all I can say is welcome Guendouzi, essentially, and welcome to the club. And yeah, some of us talk about this thing, some of us actually watch football, and I'd like to think I've earned some credibility with you lot, especially over this last summer, but historically, since I've started this YouTube thing. Guys, deluded. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. And Brighton, if you're watching, look at my application, because this is another reason for why you need me as a scout. Out.